think I might start the same way I started the last one, to be honest, which was, I don't really know how to start this, but I'm going to start it by saying I don't really know how to start it. We started a podcast a few months ago.
We never did it.
And I think we did one episode.
Yeah, this is episode number 2.
This is number 2. But I think it's one of them, you know, where it's like ultimately, like, we're making people really, really want it. Do you know what I mean?
Hopefully, yeah. I think everyone's definitely forgot the last time that we've ever even done one.
They're definitely not.
Yeah, they are.
I get asked all the time.
No, you don't.
Well, it doesn't matter. We're here now, and a lot's happened since the last time we were on the podcast. Carl's lost his hair. Surprised you've not got your hat on it.
I know, I never put it on.
Put a woolly hat on it, says you.
I know, I never put it on, but I thought I'll let you off for this.
Yeah.
Special edition.
Shiny. But yeah, a lot's happened since then, since the last podcast, and we've actually gone in co-ownership with our CrossFit gym. So if you're obviously not local and you are not from Wigan, you might have heard of it if you're from the CrossFit world. CrossFit JST was our CrossFit gym. The owner, John, obviously we've known him for several years, and we kind of wanted a new challenge, or Carl wanted a new challenge, and we decided to invest in the gym. So that was March, April?
Yeah, so we talked about it, didn't we, in like February, March, and then we didn't really know where it would go for a few 4 months, wasn't it? But then we obviously found the new gym, and then, well, we needed to move the gym to make it better, didn't we? And we always thought we wanted a better place to train. We wanted everyone else a better place to train. So luckily enough, we come across somewhere which was very close to our old gym, and just needed a basic fit out really. It was minimal stress, to be honest, as far as gym openings probably go. Obviously I've never opened a gym before, but John obviously has, and did it from scratch, and luckily enough obviously was in a position where we had all the equipment, weren't we? And well, not all the equipment, but we had the equipment we needed for the old gym, and it was probably just about getting us there, and we needed just a bit of a revamp of stuff, so it was in a really good position anyway. And I'd say the moving process and the process of getting it was relatively straightforward due to the before we were really interrupted by the dog horseman. We was at the new gym, so as far as gym move-ins are concerned, I reckon that was pretty straightforward, considering the position we was in. So yeah, I think the reason for doing it is just, obviously, it's been in our plans for a while to make some investments, and I think this is it was a good stepping stone for us, because we're naturally being involved in like sports and fitness world. We're keen on our fitness. You work with a lot of fitness clients, and I think for you to be able to build your brand more, probably specifically to mine now, is everything that you do in terms of work, this will back it up, because you'd be like, I've done it myself, I'm a gym owner. This is you've constructed different sort of campaigns and stuff and social media marketing for gyms, and that's what you're trying to do. So I think if it reflects in what you're doing for us, it can also reflect your clients. So I think that was one angle, and I think the other angle is because I think later on in life we're kind of looking at what we're doing now, and we're just trying to I think we're trying to learn the ropes of investment, aren't we? And we're trying to I guess we were trying to find something relatively low risk, relatively close to home, which we can manage directly and have a good involvement in to begin with, before we then maybe further down the line in a few years look at other investments, maybe like property or something that we're not really involved in now. I think that's the reason we overall decided to do it, because we're very in touch with it, and in future it's going to give us a good understanding of all the processes running a business like that, compared to, I guess, a business like ours, which is more service based. There's a bit more going on there in terms of maintenance, and I think it'll just give us some good teachings going forward. And I think that's ultimately what we wanted for both of us. And I think for me, it's just, I kind of just always like the idea of having a gym,
having extra stress.
Yeah, but I think, what would I say? I don't know why. it's just always been kind of on the list.
For us, I think it's like a big part of our life, isn't it? Like anybody that goes to a CrossFit gym, or anyone who goes to a gym in general and who's part of the community, like it is such a big part of your life. And we obviously knew the space that we were in was kind of restricted in terms of growth, and we knew that if we could take it to a better place, we had the resources in terms of the people that we needed within the team to be able to take it to that next level. Like we have obviously John Buller. You might not know him, but he's one of the best coaches.
He's probably one of the best coaches in the UK in terms of like CrossFit.
Yeah, 100%. He's been in the game since day dot, hasn't he? He's absolutely unbelievable what he does. So we had that, and he knows that he isn't good in other areas, and I think that's what makes a good business owner, by saying, I'm not very good at this, and this is why the business hasn't gotten where I want it to go. And that's where we kind of came in and slotted into them roles to make sure that them other boxes were being ticked. And for us, obviously, I've got the social media marketing side on lock, and you obviously are there to edit, do all the videoing for the gym, which makes it just that bit better than, not to take anything away from phone content, because I do genuinely believe phone content.
We still do a lot of that.
We still do a lot of phone content, but it just makes life a lot easier having and I think that's why, not like this is dipping into another topic completely, but when you are hands-on, and this is why I'm so big on strategy over management, if you're a social media manager of a gym and you actually don't go to that gym, or you're just literally doing it from the outside, it's really difficult to build that community and actually drive it forward. That's why I'm so big on strategy, because the strategy allows the thinking to be taken out of the strategy and the content, but then it allows the creativity to be on the side of the person, as in like creators who are in it and take it and spin it in the way that they want it to come across. It's really difficult if you're a social media manager, and being able to do that from the outside. So that's obviously very, very true, what you're saying. We obviously know what we need to do in terms of marketing the gym. We've both got experience in videoing and strategizing for gyms and coaches, and been in this industry a long time now, and obviously been part of the CrossFit gym. You've been a bit longer, maybe 6-7 years, maybe 5 years. So we know the vibe, we know the community, and then obviously us three working together, John, you and me, have been able to then become together. And where I struggle, you don't, but you're more organised with making sure everything's ticked off and making sure that our finances are in order and all the other stuff that we need to make sure day to day. Whereas me and John take another side where John will be programming it and I'll be doing the social media strategy. Like all them things just come together nicely and make sure that we're kind of rounded. Which is when you're a business owner on your own, everyone will know it's very difficult to move anything forward on your own, because there's always going to be things you miss. Like obviously I'm on my own, you are on your own. Sometimes it's difficult sometimes to be able to tick everything off that you need to do in your own businesses when you've not got other people going, well, what about this, and having that kind of that's about stuff.
I think in this space, when it's so personable, like you say, and being in it yourself is going to portray the kind of image that you want it to be. Like you say, if you get a strategy for someone, they can then interpret it how they wish to interpret it under how they perceive their brand. Whereas like you say with social media managers, when it's almost like they receive it and they're trying to do it to the letter, to the dot, it's someone else's brand. And you need to really, I think it's important if you are employing social media managers that they do really understand the brand, and they're not just someone who's got a phone, who's, do you know what I mean, on hand type of thing. I think they've got to really understand. And I think if you do have the time, when it is so personable, and if you are in the early stages of your business, like we are anyway, we can remain in touch with it, and we want to remain in touch with it forever, because you see even some of the bigger brands doing that, it still has that personable touch, and that's, like I said, bringing people together. So that's why I like the strategy, but because I'm reading your strategy, I'm understanding it, we're always talking about it anyway. It doesn't matter who does it and who executes it, because we both know the brand. And I think handing it off to that other person who's kind of like, you see, just someone who works for you or whatever, then they could spin it their own way, which isn't your way. And that's I think when the complications come in with managers over doing it yourself, obviously if you have the time. But I think most people in this space do like the hands-on approach anyway, and probably would be overseeing that quite closely.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we've talked about the gym and we've talked about like why we got involved with it and kind of what we're building up over at the new JST, which if you're in Wigan, obviously, you probably already know. We doubled the spacing a little bit more. We've kind of invested in making sure we've got our kit working, making sure that we've got new kit coming quite regularly. We've got a brand new rib, which is absolutely massive. It's 10 bay. We're just getting a coffee machine, and we're kind of just doing it as we go. But we've got like a good, good kind of foundation.
Yeah, we've got better. I've said, like, we'll look at when we moved over. We made kind of some promises to us and didn't we? Some promises to everyone else in terms of like we need better facilities. We're going to get a shower. We're going to get a cafe area. We're going to have places to sit. Do you know what I mean? We have better just facilities overall. Like you said, there's more space on the rig. There's more floor space. We've ordered more barbells, more plates.
Machines, skiers.
Skiers and that, so we can hit every avenue we feel like's in our field, whether it's CrossFit, high rocks, functional fitness. We've got plenty of room for personal training, and these just kind of things that we promised to ourselves that we would deliver on the gym, and I hope that our members believe that we have, because I think that we have up to everything that we've said. I know we was a month late with the shower, but that was down to building complications. But apart from that, it's over the line. It's done now, and I think going into the new year, we're in obviously a good place to then progress and hopefully progress the space and get more people involved.
So when we moved over, obviously it was really important that the community was still exactly the same and nothing else really changed around that side of things. But I just feel like we needed to market it better so that people actually understood what CrossFit and what kind of gym and members were about. Because I think when you hear the word CrossFit, it's like, right, well, if you're not an elite level athlete, then you can't go there. And I think that's probably what a lot of people were thinking when they looked on the page, which was of no fault of anyone. It just kind of didn't have that strategy behind it. So I'm going to go on and we're just going to chat briefly about how we kind of marketed the gym, moving from the old gym to the new gym, and how the timeline kind of works. So if anybody is maybe launching something, it doesn't have to be a gym. You might just be launching a new product, launching an ebook, or you might be moving gyms yourself. You might be a gym owner and you might be moving spaces, or you might be doing up your gym and you want to kind of show the transition of it being done up, or some sneak peeks or whatever like that. So I just thought it would be good to share our experience because it was successful in terms of the stats. So we had a good kind of Instagram platform. We had about 6,000 followers, and that might not seem like a lot of followers, but at the end of the day, when you're gym, the main aim is to dominate your postcode, and make sure that obviously it's local people, isn't it? It's not, you're not going to get people from Scotland coming down to the gym. Like, it's not like that all over the world. So the main thing is dominate your postcode. And how you actually track whether you're doing that correctly as a gym owner is when you're actually on Instagram, make sure that when you go into your stats, you actually look at where your location is, whereabouts. If you go into your engagement stats, you can look on the location of where, like, what percentages kind of you've got, and you can see like what countries, and you can also see what towns. And obviously we were UK, and we had a heavily kind of rooted engagement in Wigan. Locally, like Lee, which is obviously still Wigan, but just like it gives you Lee as well. St Helens was another, Widnes was another. So ones that were really local to Wigan, which is what I was kind of knowing that I was ticking the boxes and making sure that I was marketing towards the right people. And also on top of that, when followers came through, and this is what we always do, we still do it now, don't we? We always look at the followers coming through onto the page, and then we click on them, and if we can see that they're local, I'm like, happy days, and I follow them back. And obviously we want to show that we've seen the follow, and we just kind of give them a follow back.
It's just that touch, just the initial touch point in it with anyone who's local. Obviously, if they are local, they're following your page and they're interested in what you're doing, they're probably fully aware that we are local. It's in our bio, it's in our handle, and it's in our address on the page. So they are fully aware, obviously, but you don't follow anyone willy-nilly without just going on, don't you? So they know where we are, and we know where they are, and that's our initial touch point, isn't it? And then
obviously when we see their stuff from there on out, we're in a position to engage then, aren't we? And into a relatively, I'd say, warm audience at that point, due to their interest in our page.
Yeah, and like if you are following them and obviously they're following you back and stuff that you won't want to request, it won't get missed. Not saying that you will miss things, but it's always good to kind of show that initial engagement. And you can do the same with your coach and you see someone follow you that you can see is obviously into the gym or in your target market or whatever it is. You know, there's no harm in dropping them a follow back. You'll have to cut that bit out, just a little burp then. So first of all, when you actually doing a marketing timeline and you're looking at how to market something, the first thing you need to do is actually analyse what's going on at the current point. So you need to look at the page itself. Is that the van's just gone past? Brian, fuck off. Go away. You need to look at the... shut up. Sit down. You need to... Sorry, I'll start that bit again, just have to cut that bit out. Cut. Action. So when you're starting a marketing phase with something that you're launching or whatever, the first thing you need to really do is step back and actually look at what you're doing currently and decide whether you're actually targeting the right people, your messaging is clear. One thing that was noted about the gym from several people, and this is from no fault of anyone, it's just the perception of CrossFit, that obviously it's only for high level athletes and you can't go if you can't do a ring muscle up and if you can't lift this and you can't snatch that. And actually we've got a range of people that come to our gym. We have like a 65-year-old right the way down to like your teenagers. So we have a wide range of people all at different levels of their journey. We have someone in the 50s that's been to the CrossFit Games, but we've also got somebody who's a beginner and has never touched a barbell before they came in them doors, and they're very new to CrossFit. So it was about how do we translate that in our marketing plan alongside the move of the gym to support, to make sure that when we do move and people see the new space, that they're not threatened and they want to come and they want to try and explore the space. So that was probably the initial thing that you need, that what we did, and the initial thing that you need to do if you are marketing something, whether that be an ebook, a challenge, whatever. Is my messaging clear? Ask people, if when you click on my page, what do you think? Get other people's opinions. And it's easy to get caught into a bit of a trap of just doing whatever works engagement wise, but being wise to the fact that doesn't always mean that it's a good post if it's got loads of engagement, because we know that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to bring loads of clients in. We've got a reel that's got like about 250k views, and it was a good message, and the messaging was really clear. It was about how CrossFit is differentiated towards all different levels. But whether that necessarily brought anyone to the gym, I would doubt it highly. No,
it's like people, like I've seen people touch on that post, it still gets interaction. It's like Spanish people, all that sort of people, like the audience you don't want. So I think that's just a reflection of it going, something that is perceived to be good actually not being great for your page, especially when you're getting an influx of following of people in Europe. And I'm not saying if you're trying to build a global brand and you're an online product, then great. Everyone's a goal, but as a gym, we're talking gym specifically. I would say we're not talking fitness brands. I understand some gyms are trying to do that type of thing. We're not yet there at all. No. Like, I understand for other brands who have different products and online marketing are really establishing that side as well. Maybe that's a good thing as well. I'm not saying it's a bad thing overall because you're getting eyes on your page, but I'd rather have 100 people in Wigan than 100 people in Spain. Is what I'm saying. Yeah,
definitely, and that's what we kind of. So obviously, it's funny because people are like, well, I didn't know that was going to go viral, and we didn't know that was going to go viral. It was.
Can't believe it did.
It's literally.
It's me jumping on a plate.
Yeah, it's baffling, really, but. The intention was there to show that there is 3 different levels to being able to skip or whatever it was.
It was skipping,
It was skipping, So the intention was there, but then obviously it caught wind and it went off. But that doesn't mean that's necessarily a good thing. I can't remember what I was talking about then. I've kind of gone off on a bit of a tangent.
Talking about the dominating your postcode and we're checking our followers.
Yeah, so checking that the people that are following you are the right kind of people. This is completely off brand, but she's actually just texted me. But Jodie, a sober flourish who I work with, again, she's nearly hitting 50k followers, but she's got a really solid community of people that are all kind of looking for that, like,
they're
sober
on the same
free
path,
life.
yeah.
They're all on the same kind of path. So she knows she's ticking the right boxes. It's just always, it doesn't matter what niche you're in, whatever your goal is, always just be checking the followers coming through are good ones. And if they're not, then you need to reassess. Are you doing it for the wrong reasons and not really getting the point across? And then when we'd kind of dove into the kind of the pain points of our audience and probably what they're not coming through on social media, you then start to market content that is suited towards more people, getting testimonials off like Paul Hatton, who's a guy who's over 50.
I think he's about 50.
Yeah, 50. And I hope I've not offended Paul though.
I know.
He's probably not listening though, so it's all right. Don't tell
Paul's
Paul.
not on Spotify.
If you know Paul Hatton, don't tell him I've just said
Told
that.
me 50.
Could have been worse, could have said 60. Should have gone lower, should have gone 40. But Paul is just a dad. He's been doing CrossFit quite a while now. He does it to be part of a community. He often needs to scale weights and scale movements because he's not quite at the RX, which is like what it's written as. But he gives everything a good go, and he absolutely loves it, and his wife goes as well. So it's like we got a testimonial off him. That's just an example. We started showing different people in the gym. We started showing how things are differentiated in classes. We started to show different workouts done differently depending on your ability. We done fundamental courses again. We obviously had our beginners. We did a lot of things before even the gym move was announced or kind of signed, sealed and delivered. That made the kind of gym itself seem a lot more friendly to the wider community.
It was just a softer approach in it and just breaking down barriers, and I think you're not going to do that right away. I think from where our gyms come from in the past and where its roots are, is the landscape's very much changed, and I'd say it's changed for a lot of UK CrossFit in terms of the competitive scene as well. I think that's more widespread. However, when it initially opened, a lot of it did revolve around probably the JST brand, and now we're trying to
move away from that.
Yeah, we're trying to move away from that and soften the approach and let everyone know that everyone is welcome. There is all abilities. Everyone was always welcome in the past. It's not that. It's just the perception of that. Like, we're trying to show people getting the first pull up rather than stringing together 25 muscle ups or something like that.
That's all. That's all on perception as well. That's all on marketing and perception.
Yeah.
So like we knew that was happening in our gym anyway, but Instagram didn't know and Facebook didn't know. So the people that are on the outside are just seeing someone with a top off slinging around 140 kg squat clean, and you're like, that's not going to turn someone on to want to come. So we had to kind of flip it on its head and make sure that we were showing the different people in the gym and actually showing an honest reflection of what it's actually like day to day and how friendly everybody is, and how when you come in the gym, it's not something to be worried about. Because I know when I first came, I was actually shitting myself. I thought, oh my god!
Like if you're in Wigan, like how big is Wigan? I mean, what are the chances of you having a big pool of elite athletes in one town? Like that's not your
Wigan is.
I know, but that's not your general population, is it? Like if you're trying to get people through the doors, you're trying to entice them to come in, then the first stepping stone is doing something that they can achieve quite easily. Whereas when they see something like that, they're going to scare away. So let's say that is your target audience, to get people who are at that level. You might end up with a member base of about 15 people. Whereas if you want to grow your business and get people and truly help, and you're not in that competitive environment, and you want to help others get healthier and live better lifestyles and do what our gym's for, then that is the general population. That's a 99.9% of people. If you want to build a competitive environment like or gym per se, then I think you're going to have a lot harder time getting people through the door than you would the other way, you know. So
that kind of covers the initial phase that I would go through. If I was putting something to market, before I even put a marketing timeline in place, I would be looking at my content and making sure the messaging is clear, because you don't want to launch something and then it'd be like, well, your content wasn't saying that last week. You want to make sure that your branding and everything, your messaging, is really, really clear and coming across. So that's what we initially did, and I feel like that did show an influx of interest in the gym. It also, when we did like a Bring a Friend week, it was absolutely packed. But then we came to that stumbling block again, I suppose, with the fact that we knew that although we'd got these new people in the space, that the space was not fit for purpose. And there was, about 80 members maybe?
Yeah, about between 80 and 90.
And we knew that although we could have had new members, it was going to be tough to really pull people in when there's spaces that are bigger and cleaner and whatever else. And even though we know that our coaching is amazing, and we know that.
But before you see the coaching, you see the facility that you're training in, you see what's going on there. Do you know what I mean? Then you're going to make judgment on that. Particularly if you are a beginner, you don't understand quality of coaching, and you receive poor coaching from somewhere else. It wouldn't matter if the gym was a really nice elaborate gym like that would on the initial stages, that coaching or whatever would be overlooked, wouldn't it? Because they wouldn't know about the coaching yet, because they've not been involved. And
unfortunately for us, and anyone in the coaches, I work with a lot of coaches, and I've had discussions with people before, there is a lot of shit coaches out there, and we know that we've got some of the best coaches, and it's sometimes not enough for people. They want to be in a clean space, they want better equipment, they want whatever. So after we'd kind of cleared that message, we found a place that we wanted to move to. So if you're a coach and you're launching something, initially before you put that marketing timeline in page or your place, make sure that you've kind of cleared your messaging up and you've ticked that box first of all. Then once you've done that and you can see that the message is running through like we did, it was then to kind of start to move towards the phase of getting this new place. And we obviously, like Kyle said at the beginning of the podcast, we found something local. And then once we'd kind of signed, sealed and delivered that, it was time to then how we then deliver this new gym to the members and obviously to the wider community of Instagram followers, etc., and people in Wigan. So obviously we had quite a few discussions about how we were going to do that, and we decided to do like a sneak peek, didn't we, every Monday at the same time. We were going to do sneak peeks, and I think it was actually John that suggested maybe doing it the same time every single week, because we were talking about the sneak peeks, weren't we, and how we were going to do them, and then it kind of was like, right, well, should we do a sneak peek every Monday at 7 p.m. for the next 6 weeks?
We did it. I think we did it for 7 weeks, but
7 weeks.
We were trying to plan it on the basis. We were trying to plan it to move in, weren't we? But I do remember we didn't want to say too much too soon. We didn't want to jinx ourselves, basically. We'd not signed the lease or anything at the time, had we? So I think we held on till maybe 6 weeks, even though that's a decent time for a launch period.
Decent time
we were lucky obviously with that, but we were we wanted to say something, then we couldn't because of the lease, and we just thought if we said something now, we're going to look like plebs if this falls through.
But this is where it stands in the fact of actually being creative and thinking about how we were going to make these 7 weeks actually look decent. But luckily enough, we've got a videographer who can make things look great, and I have a good kind of idea of what I wanted it to be. And if you go back onto our Instagram, you can probably flick back and have a look at how we did that over the 6-7 weeks that we did. And then we basically had that planned in, but during that time we were still kind of talking about it on stories. We were still focusing on making sure that our messaging was really clear on the other posts that we were doing. So not only just thinking, we're just taking these marketing things off and sell, we were still adding value and making sure that people understood how we work at JST and what the community looks like. And then once we'd kind of got to the week of the move, obviously hype really built up, and the engagement was unreal, because obviously everyone wanted to look at the new gym, and you're just kind of riding that wave and doing as much as you can post launch or post new gym, pictures of it, showing people in the new environment, people's impressions when they walk through the door, what they're saying. There was one of Alana, she was walking through and she was like, wow, and little things like that. If you've got your camera on, you're making sure that you're capturing all them things, and that's a big thing. Obviously if you're a coach and you're just launching a product, it's making sure that your marketing timeline doesn't just mention it once and being like, right, well, I hope everyone buys my ebook now. I hope everyone joins my challenge now. Like, there's a certain thing where it says, like, you need to mention it X amount of times before actually people take note of what you're talking about. So if you are a coach or whatever, have that 6-week timeline and actually think about how you're going to social proof. I can't get my words out. And actually market the product properly. But with the gym, like I said, we did it in a sneak peeks over the weeks, and at post launch we showed the gym and we showed the new equipment and we showed all the different things along the way as we went. And you do ride that wave, and then engagement does drop off again. And then now it's just finding new ways on how to make sure that we're constantly on top of dominating the postcode and making sure that we kind of are getting new people through the door, which we have successfully done. And I have no doubt going into 2025 that we'll continue to do that. But most importantly, making sure that you're actually thinking about your marketing and your content ahead of time and not just thinking about it on the day. So that leads me on nicely to talk about something that I am actually launching on the 3rd of November, so a little bit of a sales pitch, but I think it's something that you're going to actually be really interested in and something that I've already had really good interest in on my social media. It is the Generate Social Planner. And if you don't know anything about what I do one-to-one support for social strategy for coaches, gyms mostly, who want to obviously grow not only followers, but grow their business on social media and making sure that they're kind of growing in the right way rather than the wrong way. And that's a big motto for me. The basis of this is to spend less time actually thinking about content and planning content and more time actually creating content that's going to make sure that you get your clients over the line. Conversations that I generally have with people are, I just don't know what to post. I just think about it on the day. I've run out of ideas. I've got a creative block. Now, this product is to take all that stress out of your hands. And it's going to be a monthly subscription, and within that monthly subscription you get a month's worth of content, which I will go through the different areas that there will be available. You get a month full of content. You also each month get a educational like YouTube where I will be going through probably the latest Instagram updates and going through something else that might be how to edit on CapCut. Whatever it is, there's going to be an educational piece included in that. There's also going to be additional support with showing you how to lay things out, giving you hook ideas, all that kind of stuff, all in one place. And that's going to be split up and available for 4 different types of planner. So I'm going to do a planner that is for gym owners. So obviously, as you know, I am a gym owner myself, so I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I know how to make sure that your gym content is successful and is not just simply about showing a few members here and there. It's actually going to drive the business forward and dominate your postcode. And then it's going to be split into 3 different styles of coaches. So we've got like a functional, high rocks, CrossFit planner. We've got a bodybuilder and physique planner, and then we've got a gem pop and lifestyle planner. So you get to obviously whatever your niche is, hopefully covered it there. You can pick one of the planners and it can be on a monthly subscription. That's going to stop, like I said, the thought of what to post, when to post, how to post, and all the other stuff that I know that we struggle with daily. And obviously, having worked with hundreds of coaches, I know your daily struggles. And that is what the Generate Social Planner is. And like, I've spent a lot of time on it, and it is going to be a game changer for coaches who are struggling with these problems that I see people struggling with on a day-to-day basis. So I'm excited for that, and that's launching on the 3rd of November, which is next Sunday. Soon. Like next Sunday. Not this Sunday, next Sunday, but I don't know when this is going out. So, but yeah, Sunday the 3rd of November. And yeah, like I said, lots of interest in it already. I think it's going to be a bit of a game changer.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I've literally not seen anything like this on the market. Perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps it is somewhere. But this specific and this unique for coaches and gyms, I've never seen. And yeah, it's going to be mega. Okay, let's round it up then, because we've been chatting shit for a while now. We're going to finish off with a bit of controversy. Biggest pet peeve in the industry currently?
Biggest pet peeves in the industry currently? I think something that what I was going to talk about on this was, obviously I don't know if people know what I do, but I did explain it in the last one, but I basically create videos now for brands, more sports related. But in the past, I have a big background in doing fitness. That's where I basically started. And I'm at a level where it is not top production company level. I'm still more or less on my own, or with maybe one or two other people, maybe a tiny team just to produce something. But like in the mid range type of affordability for businesses, a lot of businesses I work with are more quite established really, and stuff. However, when I did start at the lower end, doing all the fitnessy style stuff. And now what's difficult, I'm sure a lot of other videographers are experiencing this at the moment, is a lot of work I used to do, I would go through a period where I would do something big, and then I would probably fill my gaps with smaller things to keep me busy, and then I'd do a big thing, and then I'd do a few small ones, and I'd do another big one. And that's how my workflow kind of used to work. Now, with the influx of anyone thinking they can buy a camera, point it, and charge money, as you've seen, is like the latest trend in content creation. Someone's buying a camera, someone's trying to sell something as a professional service, they're getting it back, we're seeing the content, we can see that they don't understand what they're doing, or know the way around the camera, or there's a lot more to it than it would seem, and a lot of that work is now being taken away from people who were established, people like me and other people who would, so then small jobs where I was off a big one, and then I was doing my smaller stuff, I've kind of feel like they've been taken away down to value really. I think content is undervalued now, and I think the creation of it is massively undervalued, and I also think the quality of it is massively undervalued in terms of it's being compromised even by business owners. They're not bothered about what this content looks like. If it's £100 and I'm getting loads of clips and loads of images just for the page, that's sound with them. I think a lot of people, coaches, individuals, fitness, even brands, are compromising the quality and tarnishing their brand due to low level content. Which is obviously being taken up by people who are trying to learn the trade, which is nothing wrong with that. If they're trying to learn the trade, trying to get into it, understand doing offers and all this stuff. But I think it's the latest trend that anyone can pick up a camera, start pointing it, and start selling themselves as a photographer or videographer to a brand. And I think it's also, as I just mentioned, a reflection of the brand as well. Accepting that as acceptable content for their brand, and ultimately the question is, are they ruining their brand by doing that?
Yeah, I think you're right in saying that, and I think you're in that middle ground area like you spoke about, and I think the bottom end area is phone content.
Yeah, there
is no camera content at the bottom end, in my opinion. We know that social media loves iPhone content. We know that, but what you're doing is different in terms of you're working with brands, and I know you've done a lot of fitness stuff, and obviously with higher ends, you've also done construction stuff, property stuff. Like that stuff should not be taken up by people just with a camera and being like, sound, I'm just rocking up. And I'm absolute criminal for it, because you might say to me, oh, Amy, can you just take a few pictures for me? And then I'll touch a setting and I'll be like, oh shit, I've touched that setting and I'm not. And you just come over and you just go, yeah. And like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing with the camera. I'll just point and shoot it. I'm not a content creator. I can do a bit with my phone, but I don't declare myself as a content creator. And I think if you're not willing to put the time in to actually learn how to do it properly, and like we said, you've got to get experience in the field, but it's more the fact that every Tom, Dick and Harry just picking up a camera and going, sound.
I think it's mad because it's weird step for brands or businesses to take, because they're actually employing someone to shoot something professionally for themselves. So the intention of getting good content is there, yet they're receiving a bad quality content and then continuing to receive that level of content throughout, and not realizing that was a bad business investment for them, who was trying to progress their brand image. So it's kind of like our intention is to get better and for our brand image to improve. However, we've just employed someone who is making it worse. That's the bottom line, really. It's quite brutal, but I'd say that's probably the bottom line with it. And I'm not saying that, like, for me, I understand where my place in the market. I understand I am not at a level where I can be shooting TV adverts and television and stuff like that, or whatever it might be. Like you see some car adverts and stuff like that. That's not me. Like even the fancy edits you see on but in a documentary series or social media advert type of setting, the things that these people are trying to do for other companies, I'd say that's the area that I'm in. Yeah, it's been taken up by £50 camera people.
Yeah.
So
that's a big talking point that we've spoke about a lot, and yeah, I knew that one was coming, but I agree. My biggest pet peeve, to finish us off, would be two or three things really, but one is when I work with people with bigger followings, or anyone really who kind of have a bigger following, they are obsessed and attached to engagement metrics.
Yeah.
To the fact that they will hide likes on posts that don't do well, and they'll show them when they do well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that for real? Either hide them or don't. Like, if you want to hide them, that's fine. I think people hide them because it stops them from looking. I've heard that before. They feel like they don't want to constantly look about how
to
many
almost
likes
detach themselves.
Detach themselves from it, which I'm like, yeah, I understand that. But for me, I don't think you should hide and then unhide them on ones. Oh, that's
it's kind of obvious why you're doing that, isn't it?
So it's obvious to me why you're doing it. And with anything in life, some posts will do well and some posts won't do well. Some days are good in training, some days aren't good in training. So for me, it's just like, I'm sick of people being so attached to it all of the time, and it does wear you down. Like, oh well, I must be shadow banned because that post only got 5 likes. I'm like, you're probably not shadow banned. It was probably just a shit post, or it's just not done very well. Like, and that is just
bearing in mind these people who are complaining about this is a person who usually gets 150,000 views, and this time they only got 90,000 views.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying is bad engagement. This is the level we're talking about.
And I also said, I'm like, right, okay, so you got 90k on this one, you normally get 200k on the last one you got. So if you can't sell to 90,000 people and not convert anyone, then we've got slight issues.
Yeah.
Like, you can have 100 views on a post, on a reel, and if you sell to 50 of them, hell, you're laughing. If you had 100 people in a room, if you've got 1,000 followers on Instagram, and you've got 1,000 people that are engaged in what you're saying and they'll buy from you, they're not bothered if you've got 100k followers or not. They're bothered about if you care about them as a coach. And I also massively, and I put this out today on my social media, and it really bugbears me, is people that are coaches and think they're athletes before it, or they put themselves before the clients just for clout or just to make themselves feel better. I don't know what it is, but at the end of the day, they care about what you can do for them, not what, oh, you can clean and jerk this much, or you can do 20 ring muscle ups. They don't give a fuck about that. And that's just the brutal honesty of it. They care about how you're going to help them do that. Not to say you shouldn't show your journey, because you should. And I show mine, I show behind the scenes in my life. But I think, don't make it about yourself. And I said, them first, you second. And that's that. And my final one is something that I've seen, and it fucking blood boils me. People that have bought followers, brainwashed to believe in them followers and engagements are real. So if you've bought followers and you've also bought likes and whatever else you've bought, because God knows what you can do out there, it's scary, they believe that engagement is real and that their Instagram's doing well. I'm like, are you actually in another world? Like, why are you buying likes? And when you've done that, you cannot undo it. You are done forever. Your account is ruined. And that is me being brutally honest. You may as well fuck it off and start again. It's done. And that is a pet peeve. I'm sorry.
And that's done.
And that's my rant.
I'm not even going to say anything on that either.
That is just so true. And yeah. And I know a lot of people bought followers previously because of the 1,000. You had to have 1,000 followers to get the link click on the story. So I know that people have fallen into that trap previously because of that. Like like 2017 or something, like literally.
Yeah.
But to do it in today's society, and you just scroll through, you're like, these are all random, completely bot accounts. And if it's a bot account, you know it's a bot account because you just know, don't you? It's like got a random name, it's got no profile picture. It's just completely ridiculous. And just remember, you can't sell to fake followers, so they're pointless anyway. So you may as well have none.
Yeah, and if you are in that position, I think it's important that you do start a new page again. Like in most cases, because maybe if ever you've seen an account revived, and I think it would depend on the severity as well that you've done it. If you're a 50k person and you've bought 5,000, you might get away with it.
Yeah.
If you're a 1,000 person, you bought 24,000, you probably won't.
No, you definitely won't. And it does. And massively, we'll say this to a lot of people: an engaged community, an engaged following, whether that's 1,000, it is way more valuable than having an account with 100,000 people that don't give a fuck about what you're saying. Yeah. And that is so true, and I cannot stress that enough. Building proper relationships with your audience is going to be the key to success. Okay, well, I think we should wrap it up because we have been chatting some shit for ages.
Shall we have our dinner?
What are you making?
Don't know. It's a bit late.
All right, well.
It's a bit late.
It is a bit late.
McDonald's.
What are you having?
I don't know yet.
Chicken nuggets?
No.